All right, welcome everybody to the Strength Connection. Amy Guerrier. Welcome to the podcast.
That's me. In fact, I'm gonna make sure that my name is here as well.
Mhm.
Will it show if it's written?
It should, yeah.
Okay, because I love my surname. It's taken me a while to
Mhm.
get to the point of loving it. And I love it because it means warrior. It's French for warrior.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah,
Oh, beautiful. Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Oh,
So I really love it.
a
It's
mindset warrior. Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect.
you see, yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, Amy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time. I've been really pumped to dive in and talk about all the work that you do. Shout out to Mark England for connecting us. So again, thank you so much for taking some time and joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
So
You're
excited to hear.
You're one of the few people that I'm like, I don't know where to start with Amy with all the work that you do. From the boating work you do, from the circus work that you do, and all the work in mindset. I ask if you go to a cocktail party and someone says, "What do you do?" What's your answer to that?
Okay, that's a great question because I was at a gathering party this weekend, which was the first in a while because I've been a total hermit by choice for a while. It's been amazing to really go inwards. And so I was really noticing coming back out to play in the world and engage and talk. And firstly, I really I've really started enjoying asking people instead of what do you do? I mean, I've actually not done that for a really long time. I like asking what's good in your world. And then what I really love about that is I get to hear that and then they ask me.
Mhm.
And it just so happens to be that what is good in my world is my work as well.
Okay.
So I do get to share that. And usually I will then share what's at the forefront of what I'm excited about. And right now, and so what I've been showing over the weekend is building my channel of Absolutely Fabulous, which is a YouTube channel that and Instagram and everything that I am attempting to bring in all the things that I do with that. So that's performance and it's coaching and finding the way to like really bring that together. And I I think soft talk acknowledged that it's going to work
Mhm.
um, in one platform. So that's and then aside from that, so I've been doing high performance mindset coaching for a few years now, 4 years, really deep into it. And when COVID happened, I naturally stopped performing hula hoops and clowning and that side of my work. I was doing professional hula hooping for 10 years.
Mhm.
And personally, it was a real blessing, COVID, because the coaching stuff I've been working with and training in for a long time and using for my own development and my own tools. And when COVID happened, which meant I wasn't going to the festivals that I'd be going to every year, my summer would be blocked out with festivals, which was epic, um, and other events. And it meant that that stopped, which meant that I could really put energy into growing my coaching.
Mhm.
And that took off really well and was word of mouth, really, and also doing workshops online.
Mhm.
Um, and more, because of my background as a performer, I would start working with more and more performers and artists and actors and now work with some athletes and just been making the best connections possible and also getting better myself all the time as a coach. And now I consider myself like I trust the processes that I use so much, the games and the exercises and story work, breath work, and which I can get into what story work is at some point as well, if you like.
Sure.
Mark probably spoke about that. Mark and
Story
Gary.
work, it's a beautiful topic we dive into quite a bit on this show
Yeah,
in here.
great.
So yeah, there's a lot of threads in there, Amy, which
Yes.
I find fabulous. I've been following your channel and the work that you're doing with the boat, AbsoBOATely Fabulous. And you said that you kind of want to bring all the things that you've worked with together in this one venture. How did that come about? Like, where did the idea of living on a boat and kind of going into this avenue, what called to you so much to doing it in this capacity?
So great question. I got to the point where I'm ready to buy something to live in, and if I'm yeah completely honest, which I am, I felt a bit sick with the idea of buying something that's in one place. It's like, that's that's uncomfortable
Okay.
because I'm very nomadic.
I was gonna say, are you nomadic? Yeah.
I'm very nomadic. I love travel. I love adventure. There's a wonderful song that matches my. I mean, the first time I ever heard this song, I wept, and it was like, "Oh my God, that's me!" And there's a line in it. It's called "Nomad Blood" by a singer called Martha Tilston, and there's a line in it that's, "I lay roots and rip them up again." Well, man,
Wow.
no blood. I lay roots and I rip them up again. And when I heard that line, and even now feeling into it, it like it hits me here. It's like, oh my God, that's me. That is me in that. And I do so with joy. I do it with, it's with, oh, this is good. This is feeling settled. And wow, I'm really taking so many gifts and connections and landing and having a foundation brings a lot of gifts. And then I rip it up because I'm ready for the next adventure
Hmm.
and the next adventure and what that brings and what I learn from that. So I'm always following my excitement and my joy and learning from so many different places. And yeah, now the boat, I'm getting to move all the time. So every 2 weeks, I move a little bit, or maybe a bit more of a bit,
Mhm.
and be in a new town, in a new village, and have that sense of adventure. And then, so as a living situation, that felt really good and really exciting for me. And then the ideas, when I started living abroad, the ideas were coming thick and fast of how I can really express myself through having a boat, and how I can bring value, and how I can bring together all the things that I love and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
to then yeah to and I feel more myself than I've ever felt ever before,
Why is that?
because I'm in alignment,
Hmm.
because I have taken the steps to follow my joy enough to sift out the things that aren't in alignment over the years by learning through contrast. Oh, okay, this is what I can learn from this situation, or this way of living, or this relationship, or this kind of work. And those are the things I don't want moving forward. And these are the things I do want. So it's like harvesting. I've been harvesting the understanding of who I am and what I want and what my values are through continuous learning and continuous taking risk and trying things out, to
Yeah.
then now being like, yeah, I'm doing it. I am so comfortable with who I am and continue to be as well.
Yeah. I mean, the call to adventure is, it's something that kind of sits within our gut with all of us. To really go and explore it out is another thing because, a lot of us are risk averse in doing something like that and want that like stable position. Has this always been your mindset, kind of connecting with your personality of, doing something I mean, living on a boat. I remember when I had Eric and Jenny Patton on, who did the year of van life that they worked with. which is a beautiful thing. And they kind of talk, I mean, there is something about the new surroundings and kind of exploring, but also bringing in their coaching practice from there. Was this something that you knew you wanted to do? Like, was this an idea that was in your head for a while, or was it more of a I need a switch up here, right? Something's calling me that I feel out of alignment, and were you exploring more different ideas and then kind of landed on, oh, I'm gonna go into the boat.
Mm. Yeah, I feel that on my journey, at least for the last 10 years, that I've been aware, and actually forever, let's say the last 10 years, I've always been where I'm supposed to be in every situation, even when it's been really challenging and really hard. I absolutely was meant to be there. And I trust that implicitly. And that means that I trust myself and my choices. And it also means that I get to choose and have chosen to learn from every instance. So, yeah, does that make sense?
It does. Is that something, did you learn that? You said like, I trust I trust where I'm supposed to be in each situation. I align with that very much so, just from faith and from gratitude and certain experiences. But it's a challenging thing when you're going through the shit or it's not going well to
Mm.
have that. Has that always been innately like within you, or was that something that has evolved and developed more with the work that you've done in coaching and high performance work, as well as the work that you've done with hula hooping and being on stage in high risk situations?
It's an evolution of me evolving and learning to trust myself and my choices, and in the small moments that of learning to trust my gut. And okay, could I give an example? I can give an example. This is relatively small. So let's say I got asked to do a performance somewhere, and this is when I really started to notice it. So I'd get asked to do a gig, and I would think, "Ooh, yeah, that sounds okay, but like maybe it wasn't paid or low pay, or I didn't really like the idea of the maybe it's a nightclub or something, and something wasn't quite clicking, and so I was a no, um, but I said yes, and because I didn't have anything else on that week, so I started to justify it, like, oh, okay, well, I don't have anything else. That bit of money would be helpful, so I'm making justifications. And then a week before that one that I didn't really want to do, or it wasn't a full, do you swear on your podcast?
You could say fuck yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It was a
Yeah.
full fight, yes. I get to check these things. Um, and then a week before, I'd get a call from something else saying, "Are you free next weekend? We've got this amazing opportunity."
Mm.
Right. And I'd be like, oh, this is really annoying because I'm going to need to cancel that other one because I need to. Or I would just go, no. Well, actually, what I started doing was I would still do I would do the thing. So that's when I realized like my integrity. So then me stepping up in having my integrity, so not canceling the thing,
Hmm.
then made me strengthen my resilience to trusting my gut and my full fuck yes. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So then getting into your work with coaching, high performance coaching, which I want to ask you about really the definition of that. I think that's a word that we throw
Mm,
out a lot of what a high performer is.
yeah.
But how was the path for you of going from performance work and then getting into coaching? Was this a path that you knew that you wanted to get into, or how did that come about for you of getting in and working with other people on
Mm.
their mindset, on their lives, and breaking them through barriers?
Yes. So I've been friends with Mark England since 2011, and he has been a really powerful influence in my life. He was always a good friend, and he saw he clearly saw a lot of potential in me, and he supported me when I was early 20s to go and do some trainings. So I did some EFT, I did NLP, and I trained in authentic relating and various other modalities, as well as doing clowning, as well as hula hooping, as well as getting into performing. So all of that was happening. I was doing the training, various trainings, and here and there working with people, using some of the skills when I taught hula hooping. So I set up a business teaching hula hooping as well, hoop dance and fitness classes in 2012. And naturally in the teaching, I would be coaching people with their mindset, because so often people would be spinning the hoop and just say, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
so rubbish. La 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 la. And I would gently, lovingly challenge them on what they're saying and help them to see the truth of what's actually going on, and using the hula hooping as a tool to, when there's something about the hula hoop that when someone can't do it, they believe that they can't do it, and
Mhm.
then they do it. I'm talking about spinning the hoop on their waist, because once you know the mechanism, it's actually really straightforward. Right, good size hula hoop. So it needs to be a big size hula hoop, not a children's hula hoop, which most adults will attempt to use. And the rhythm going forwards and backwards. So when you have those two things and you take some deep breaths and you become aware of the story that you're telling yourself, if you're saying, I can't do it, I never could do it when I was little, and la la la, and you go forwards and backwards with your hips instead of round and round, then that instills a huge amount of confidence for people. Like, I saw people go from, I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to do
Mhm.
it. And so I love that. And that gave me, and it's even in this moment that I'm making this connection of where my coaching started. And yeah,
Mhm.
it started there. And interrupting people's patterns. I'm a pattern
Yeah,
interrupter. I'm here to, do you know, the phrase that came to my head there is, I'm here to fuck shit up.
I love that.
I'm here to fuck
Yeah.
shit up. I'm here
Uh,
to fuck up your inner shit
mhm.
and shift it. That's what I'm here to do, because I've been committed to doing that with myself and fucking up my own shit and not buying my own shit and interrupting my own shit and realizing my own shit is an illusion, and none of the fear, well, anything I'm fearing isn't real, apart from, some actual thing like that is actually something to fear. But even then, I don't.
Yeah. I think that, the pattern interrupt, Amy, this is really interesting because I have a hula hoop story and I feel like a moron
Okay.
speaking about hula hooping with a professional hula hooper, but
Oh,
this
I
was
would love to hear your story.
when I joined my former partner when he had the studio and we had a hardstyle kettlebell studio in my area of Saratoga Springs, we would do finishers and like the last 5 minutes, one of the things we would do was hula hooping. We had a bunch of hula hoops in there.
So
And
cool.
coming from a like 10 years of very serious based like work and management and stuff like that, I thought this was kind of like ridiculous. Like, oh, like this is just like a party trick thing after we do all the stuff, like just to kind of break things down. And I'll tell you, that was one of the not just most fun things that we did, but it broke that pattern that you just said. Like where we were, doing all this work of like, technique and strength training and it's supposed to be very stoic and very serious. And then we'd break out the hula hoops and we would all of a sudden you'd see some of the strongest people in there who couldn't get it down. And then the people who are coming in who are brand new or very uncomfortable, not really in a gym setting, but they freaking were crazy at this and they were awesome. And like everybody all of a sudden like had this, fun because no matter what, like you couldn't take yourself seriously while you were doing the hula hoop. And it was that pattern interrupt. And I didn't even really recognize that the power and even like the symbolism of that probably until just now of how powerful that was. And one of the themes that we really had in that group in that community was, yeah, like this is serious. We're trying to get strong. We're trying to fuck shit up. but this is supposed to be fun at the same time. And one of the best ways, I think, to break that pattern or that monotony of the day when you're trying to succeed is do something that has some fun, that makes you laugh, that makes you like screw up, because nobody's good at it right time, or like nobody, some people, they don't look like they're very graceful with it, like they're doing it, but it looks so like forced, but it's hilarious at the same time. That was such a powerful kind of part of that. It seems so small and so like kind of just a throw in, but there was such a foundational piece of that that I thought was so powerful.
Mm. Well, it's play, and it's the wonderful thing about hula hooping is that it's relatively quick progression, and you learn by the hula hoop dropping. That's how you learn. So it builds resiliency, because I remember someone saying to me that the hula hoop falling down felt as embarrassing as like their pants falling down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can
A
understand
little
that.
extreme,
Like,
but yeah.
yeah, like it's that dread, like, oh my God, it's like so embarrassing. And
Mhm.
it's tapping into that much anguish and embarrassment for this individual.
Mhm.
And that was brilliant. And I think on varying levels, that's what's going on. And when you know how it works, majority of people can do it, or they can spin hula hoops on their hands.
Mhm.
They can roll the hoop, they can flick it so it comes back to you, or they can do a trick. They can throw the hoop to another person, like, and whatever is happening, really, it's getting you in the present moment. It's
Mhm.
getting you playing, and it's low stakes play. So that low stakes play is what activates your, I'm going to sound really neuroscience now,
Mhm.
activates your prefrontal cortex, which means that you gain ability to take more risk and make better decisions and be more in the moment. And it saved my life. Hula hooping literally saved my life.
Hmm.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is a story in and of itself. And it did. It absolutely saved my life.
Yeah. What
Mm.
was it about the performing from clowning and from hula hoop? I'm going to ask you about clowning again. We'll do that in a little bit. But
Mm.
what did the work of performance like that? How did that help you when you got into working in coaching? Like you went through NLP and the Enlifted program with stuff. What were the lessons that you learned from being a performer that seemed like it carried over very easily into coaching? Was it the state of play and kind of seeing that, struggling with other people, or what were some of the longest levers that you saw that bridged the gap from the work that you did in performing into now working with other people who might not be in that particular realm, but you can
Mm.
bring those lessons into the work that they're doing?
I would say in how performing has made me who I am. And I being on stage in front of a lot of people is really fun for me. And was there a time when it wasn't fun for me? It got it was an edge, okay. Definitely was an edge. And actually, I'm having memories right
Mhm.
now of when these moments were. So, and I might be completely digressing off of your question if I go there. What was your question again?
So just the carryover of the things that you learned from
Yeah.
performing
Okay.
into then, coaching. Because I always think it's very interesting to you can play the game and you can be the player. Now, when you go into the coaching realm, taking those lessons that you learned as a player and being in the moment into working with other people. Uh,
Okay. So, thank you. So, being able to play and being able to be in the absolute unknown. So when before I go on stage, this is one of the games that I picked up in clowning, which is literally saying to yourself, I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's okay. And although that may or may not be true with what's about to happen in the show, my favorite way of performing is uh, is is interacting with the audience and having a very loose structure, playing a character. There will be some hula hoops in there, but that's just me being, woo
Mhm.
and shabam and something really great to look at and skillful. And the main thing that I love to do when I'm performing is not knowing what on earth is going on or happening and feeding from the audience. So putting myself in what's called in the shit. And that's the term in clowning, is being in the shit. And when you're in the shit, you're in the chaos, you're in the uncertainty, you're in the unknown, and people are watching you. And it can go in any direction. And the main thing to hold on to in that space of uncertainty and in the unknown is being in your joy. So as
Mhm.
long as I'm in my joy and I'm following what's bringing me excitement, what's fun for me, what my curiosity, who in the audience, what am I going to say that feels most exciting for me to say and most joyful for me to say, how I want to move my body in a way that's most joyful for me, the audience are going to enjoy it
Mhm.
because I'm in my joy. So I could literally come out on stage, and if my joy in that moment was to like really playfully like pick my nose, but I'm having so much joy with it, it's like, shall I do it? So
Is that a
am I gonna
go-to?
do it? Like, and the pleasure of like people reacting like, is she gonna do it?
Oh my God,
It's
it's
so
yeah.
silly,
Mhm.
so silly. But if I felt ashamed of that and thought, ooh, I have this really funny idea, maybe I go out there and I pretend to pick my nose. Okay. And if I feel shame about that or I don't fully buy it, and I try and do that and go, and I'm uncomfortable with
Mhm.
it, everyone else is uncomfortable with it.
Right.
Because what are you doing? You're not enjoying that. We don't want to see that. We want to see you in your joy. We want to see your pleasure. We want to see you expanding in front of us, of exploring something new.
Mhm.
And I love that. And then that that way of being sets me completely free when I'm coaching to be with the person that's in front of me and be with whatever is happening and whatever stories we go into. I mean, I genuinely believe I can hold and take people through any story, any story,
Mhm.
and I remain calm, open, excited, there, present, the opposite of freaking out, the opposite of knowing it all, and simply allowing the process to unfold, because I trust the process, the enlifted method
Yeah.
so much, story work so much, and I
I think, a
feel
hu
safe in myself.
yeah, a huge takeaway that I got from that, Amy, is that game of I don't know what I'm doing, and that's okay. There's so many layers to that, I think is so powerful. I see it in entrepreneurship. I see it in people who are getting started in the work that I've done with fitness. It's like there's this innate feeling that we want to know what the next step is in front of us, right? It's like where if you say I don't know what I'm doing, it's not only like I don't know what I'm doing, it's I can't control what's going to happen. I don't know the outcome of what's going to go, and that's okay because that's not my right to know what's going to happen in the future. And when you
Mm.
actually say that and you realize that you're not in control of what's going to happen, then you can actually, as we cliche say all the time, be in the present moment, right? It's a beautiful thing to say, but the practical application of getting there is, it's a different thing. So a reframe like that of being like, yeah, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, and that's okay. I'm just going to follow my own intuition and get in. I think it's a good lesson that a lot of people can get into. And I would assume with working with high performers as well, that's an easy pathway to always feel like you want to be in control of every, situation of going in, especially if you're going from one level and now you've got to another level and you want to keep rising up. With
Yeah.
working with people in this demographic, what are the common struggles or like the common themes of things that they're struggling with of trying to get to that next level or maintain? Is it a mindset thing? Is it more of they think it's tactics and strategies? What are the common things that you see from the people that you work with?
The common things that I see are um, absolutely massive lack of appreciation for where they are right now, and simply being able to stop and celebrate themselves
Mm,
genuinely, because they've almost always been pushing for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and they have people around them that's the next thing, the next thing, and it's go, go. And there's so much imposter syndrome. There's so much not good enoughness, believing they're not good enoughness a lot of the time. Um, like under the surface with stress and anxiety. And a lot of the time they're breathing high and tight.
mhm,
They're breathing, it's up here and it's stress and it's adrenaline, and a real challenge to learn how to stop and rest and simply be. And a lot of the time as well, I feel like I've said a lot of the time,
mhm.
there's there's so much pressure from outside of themselves. And God, look at, I don't watch sport a huge amount, and through doing my work, actually watching football and contemplating the intensity that the top footballers are experiencing in that moment, that intense pressure. And so many people do not have adequate support when you're at that level, like
Mhm.
really don't, and I mean, things that I was really affected by is like Avicii, who's, the musician, DJ, producer, and watching his Netflix, um, and just seeing the attitudes around him, which are, but you've got everything you want. You're at your highest. You've got the girls, you've got the money. Like, what do you possibly have to be
Right.
sad about? And it's because that's not what actually brings joy. And if you've got the story running that you're not good enough because that's your conditioning from when you were young, that's not going to go anywhere until you work on it, until you really deeply get to know that part, that side, and shift that internal dialogue and use your breathing mechanics properly, and see where you're living your life full of internal conflict and then external conflict and blaming yourself and blaming others, and um having, yeah, until you're in drama as opposed to being present
Mhm.
with what is happening, the feelings that are happening, the story that's running in your mind, what you're creating, what you're avoiding, and getting really real, and having that. And I think a lot of the time, take out the think, it's having the right support, people that can
Mm.
really see you and really, yeah, really see you, really care. And a lot of people that are high performers, they're they're holding so much. They're holding the livelihoods of all the people around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
The responsibility kicks up, quite a bit. It is the question I had, and
yeah.
the thing kind of explored is just why that is, right? It's like the easy answer is like, is it a scarcity mindset? You feel like you're going to lose it all or so. But I think the other sense is when you start to see some success and you start to see like you elevate and progress up, like, yes, maybe you're afraid that you're going to lose it all, but also it's like if you stay in that mindset of always looking to the next thing and the next thing, so you're always kind of, your feet are on the ground, but really like your head's in the clouds, like you're always looking into the future. No,
Mm,
that's not going to stop once you get to another level or another level. Like you think, well, this is the pathway, this is the mentality that got me to this level. So this is just what I have to keep going on over and over. And I've said this before, and I tried to coin this phrase. Like, I think the most challenging thing is being okay with who you are in the process of who you're becoming, because it's like because you can always elevate and evolve to another level of who you want to be. That's the mastery, the Kaizen path, of that 1% better each day. But then also being okay with who you are in the moment, just being who you are. And I personally,
mm,
I've struggled with that a lot, in time of always looking at that next step and trying to, gain to that next level and not taking that adequate time of being appreciative of the things that I have done. One of the things that helped me the most with that is just every night just counting the small wins, just doing daily wins journal, and then
yeah.
actually going back and just being like, oh, I actually I went for a walk today and just listened to music. I didn't, try and fill my head with a
You
podcast or
four-step it.
learning, and like just having fun and just, going into music. It's a powerful thing, but it's a hard thing to get at. It's a hard thing to break once
Do
you're
you
in that.
four-step it?
I'm sorry?
Do you four-step it?
Remind me of the four steps.
Okay, great. So that's a no. So,
Mhm.
are you up for taking 30 seconds, Michael, and writing down three of your wins?
Sure.
And anybody listening to this, do the same.
Mhm.
Do the same. It can be big or small. Um, you know, big or small. Write down three wins. Get your magic wand, aka your pen, and a piece of paper
Mhm.
if it's available, and if it's not available, your phone. And even as you're thinking about what are your wins, notice the different thoughts that might be coming with that, some of the challenges that the
Okay.
interrupting thoughts. Have you written
I've got
three?
them down. Yep.
Okay, great. So could you read them out loud?
Early training this morning of armor building complex. I went for a walk right afterwards, out in the sunshine, and I got prepared for this podcast this morning because we're doing it in the morning.
Okay, great. What was the difference for you having those written out on the paper than having them in your head?
Uh, what's funny is I forgot that I really enjoyed just going for a walk in the sunshine this morning. So just writing it down brought that memory back in. That was probably the biggest one.
Okay, great. And how did it feel reading out loud in this moment? Because I've now
Mhm.
got you into a coaching zone.
It felt good. An immediate smile just went across my face without thinking about it.
Okay, wicked. And with these three wins, what do they mean about you? And could you write that down? Yeah. And those of you listening and participating, what do your wins mean about you?
Well, one is I take care of myself, my physical health. Um, and the other is I am very passionate and serious about the work that I do of putting on this show and the work that I get in. So I have a vision and I know that I'm stepping into it and I'm working on it every day.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so we've done in terms of the four-step process for as you asked, we've written it down. So that's the first stage of anything, and you can write down anything. You can four-step your journaling. You could write a letter. You could write down your wins. You could write down your interrupting thoughts. You could write down your new boundaries. You could write about anything. Okay, and then that's the first step. Then the second step is to read it out loud, which you've done. Then the third step is to read it out loud, and this time at 70% speed.
Mhm.
So if you can go ahead and do that, and you can read everything that's you've written on your page.
Okay. Training this morning in armor building complex, went for a walk out in the sunshine, got prepared for this podcast this morning.
And then the means about you.
I take care of myself and I am serious about the work that I do and the vision that I have.
Beautiful. What do you notice when you slow it down?
Um, Probably more calm, like just more calm, like a not heightened sense. It's just kind of just, step back and just got a little bit more of like a calming feel from it.
Okay, write that sentence down. I got a bit more of a calming feeling.
I love this.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, so what I'd like you to do now is when you read them out, to actually put an I in the sentences.
Hmm.
And we're going to take a parasympathetic breath. So in through the nose, filling up the belly, filling up the lungs, and then slowly exhaling through the mouth, making the exhale longer than the inhale. This goes parasympathetic, so it gets into the relaxed state, nervous system. And keep the read slow. And I'm going to breathe with you. And anybody listening, you could read out at this point, you could be reading out your sentences or simply listen with Michael and then take a breath with us,
Hmm.
because why not, and see how it feels for you. So when you're ready, Michael, you can
So
begin
read it out and then take a breath.
so yeah, you're going to take a breath first and then you're going to read a line. Thank you, I can make it clearer.
Okay.
And then take another breath, read the next line, take another breath, read the next line. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Okay, so we'll start.
I trained this morning in the armor building protocol. I went for a walk out in the sunshine.
Big breath in.
I got prepared for this podcast this morning. I take care of myself. And I care about what I do and the vision that I have.
Mm,
And I got a bit more of a calming feeling.
mm. Big breath in. Great work. What happened when you got the breath in there?
It good. You definitely slow down in the spot. It's interesting doing it on a podcast because we've never done this
Yeah.
before in practical sense. But um, yeah, I remember when Jeremy was on maybe like a month or so ago, we went over it, but we didn't actually go through it in that. So actually going through
Ah,
the four-step process is really
interesting. So
powerful. Yeah. The
what's the
breath
difference? Yeah, go on, go on.
the breath connection and the slowing down of it, I think is really powerful. I know being an avid journaler and writing, sometimes you can get into a journaling practice where you do it just like you're doing every other high intensity thing that you're doing, like you're trying to get all the thoughts out and going really quick. So
Mm,
the step by step process of making sure that you slow it down. You can just say slow it down and got something from that at the 70%, but adding the breath in between each of it felt a lot. It's much more, you feel that there's a much more physical realm to that.
yes. And did you notice any resistance at all throughout the process?
Nothing big, no, nothing big. Uh, it is a little bit different because we're doing it live on a show on
Yeah,
here.
no.
Yeah, but that's the only difference that you can feel. Doing
Yeah.
it separately, like on an own time when kind of in the zone, I probably feel a little bit different. But I felt it
Yeah.
immediately of just going through the process of it. So,
Yeah. So if we were to do a coaching thing right now, which we won't because we're doing a podcast, I would be
mhm,
really curious about the bit of resistance and yeah, the story of I'm on a podcast. This is my podcast. I don't normally do this, and then the feeling that arises with that. Oh, my belly is so rumbly. It just did a really big rumble. Uh, and yeah, and then finding the feeling and connecting that to experiences
mhm.
of caring what people think, having instances where that's been uncomfortable or where we felt whatever. It's a thread. It's a little thread that we
Mhm.
then go into and unfold. Yeah, and it's wonderful. I love this work so much. So thank
I
you.
love I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you for putting me through that. That was very fun. And
Good.
it's very interesting to go through the practical aspect of it because I think, I say that a lot. We talk about mindset and working on the mind in a very ethereal kind of like big idea type way, but actually breaking it down into practical application. That's why I think people go into, the work that I do with physical training, with fitness and stuff. That's a very objective thing. Yeah, do this exercise. Oh, if you increase your weight, you got stronger in this. The mind is very different. Like it's with us every day. It's very twitchy. It goes in and out with, crazy shit all the time. So to break it down and actually have a process of going through this and feeling when you feel like calm, what is popping up with the resistance? Like this takes
Mm.
it from the subjective into the objective. And I think that's the most powerful thing as coaching that I think that we can do is a lot of these things are very individualized and each person that you work with is going to have a different story and a different way that you approach it. But there are very objective measures on the mental performance side that you can get into. And I think this is a really powerful one.
Yes, and I would say that people have different stories, and so much of the time it comes down to the same story,
Yeah.
which is, am I good enough? It's a telephobia.
Yeah.
Do you know what telephobia is?
What is it?
It's the fear of not being enough.
Mm.
And it shows up as in perfectionism, not taking risks, comparison. Um, did I say procrastination?
No, that's in there
And
too. Yeah.
yeah, and stifles everything. It's I'm
Yeah.
not good enough. What will they think? Who do I think I am? And these are all statements we've internalized from people that have actually said that to us, usually as children, the school system, and it's inherited.
Yeah.
It's
But I think
inherited.
it's a great message because, I said this at at an event I hosted earlier is that the more I've connected with people, the more I realize that we're a lot more similar than we are different. And I think
Mhm.
when you're going through the shit and you're going through tough things, it's very easy to feel like you're the only one that's going through it. You're very alone in the process where you realize everybody's going through a lot of similar things. And as we said earlier in this, as you said, I don't know what I'm doing and that's okay. Like it's like just
Mm.
getting into that zone of allowing yourself to not like know these steps, but knowing like you can work through and you'll figure it out. It's like,
Yes,
you know,
yes. And also, you reminded me earlier. I was thinking because that sentence, I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's okay because it's got negation words in it. Then what's the flip side of that? So if it's I don't know what I'm doing, I do know how I'm being, or I do know how I want to be, which is trusting myself, which is trusting myself that I'm gonna be okay with
mhm,
whatever is in my present experience. And that's the definition of confidence.
mhm.
Confidence, do you know the etymology of confidence?
No.
So con is with and fide is to trust. So it's to with trust in yourself that you're going to be okay with whatever is presented. That's
I
true
love
confidence.
that. I love that. That's a perfect closer. Amy,
Mm.
you're a blast. Thank you so much for jumping on. It's really been cool hearing about your journey of all the work that you're doing and getting in. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure and really fun. And yes, and more, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So
To
if
everything.
people want to check out more of all you're doing, going on the boat, getting through, what's the best place that we can direct them?
So my Instagram is absoboately, which I'm sure you'll put
Yeah,
somewhere.
we'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely fabulous. And that's going to, so a little tiny nugget of that. So that's, I'm getting performers to come to me and performing on the roof of the boat while I'm cruising. And then we're having a conversation, I'm getting to know them, and that's really lovely. And I'm also asking them about their own atelophobia, their not good enoughness.
Mhm.
How do they do what they do? And they're really like bonkers characters that I know, like really incredible people from all different ways of performance, and like performing arts as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, mostly performing arts. And my work within that is then I'm creating my new show, which is going to be a combination of bringing in a lot of the mindset tools and finding ways of doing the games with people, doing the language games with people, all whilst being the captain who's a pirate, a posh pirate that's probably a bit drunk. I'm still working on the character. But yeah, inspired by Absolutely Fabulous, the TV
Mhm.
show, the English TV show. And then my website, amyguerrier.com, is, yeah, a big part of where people find me. And I'm also part of another project called In Good Hands, which is much more focused on working with people who experience a lot of grief in their work. So going into hospices, end of care places, and working with the staff to teach them this tool, this
Mhm.
self-coaching tool, way of processing the grief and the trauma, and then also working with loved ones who've lost people. So yeah, like I'm getting into grief work as well, which is really profound.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a whole mixture really. So anyone that wants to reach out to me, feel free to. I'm very open to connecting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amy, thank you so much. It's been a blast. Listeners, thank you so much for connecting. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace.